picked it up and he buckled it on. Even though regulations dictated that he wear his sidearm at all times, Joe hated driving with his holster on because the heavy pistol jabbed him in the back. As he climbed into the pickup, there were two more quick shots, one after the other. The first shot wafted across the brush and hay. The second was definitely another hit. Joe thought it was likely that at least 2 and possibly 3 animals were down. Joe shoved the pickup into 4-wheel drive and headed west toward the mountains, driving as fast as he could without losing control of the wheel. There were no established roads, so he kept the left tires in a cow track, while the right wheels bounced through knee-high, then thigh-high sagebrush. Maxine leaned into the windshield, with both of her large paws on the dashboard, balancing against the violent pitching of the terrain. Her tongue swung from side to side and spattered the dashboard with dog spit. "Get ready," Joe told her, although for what, he didn't know. They plunged into a dry wash and ground up out of it, the tires independently grabbing dirt and shooting plumes of dust into the air. Joe nearly lost his grip on the steering wheel as it wrenched hard to the right and left. Then he regained control and powered up a brushy slope. His mouth was dry, and he was, quite frankly, very scared. A game warden in the field rarely encountered anyone who wasn't armed. Hunters, of course, had rifles, shotguns, and sidearms. Hikers, fishers, and campers all too often were packing. Even archery hunters had bows capable of rocketing a razor-sharp broadhead arrow through his pickup door. But that was during hunting season. This was the middle of summer, and there were no seasons open. The only kind of people who would be knocking down big animals now would be poachers or cattle rustlers, and either could be desperate and dangerous if caught in the act. Joe Pickett topped the small hill and quickly sized up the situation. 3 large buck mule deer were dead, lying on their sides on the bottom of the saddle slope. Their throats had been cut to bleed them, but they hadn't been opened up yet to field dress. A bearded man wearing a t-shirt, jeans, and a king ropes cap straddled the largest of the bucks. He was a big man, built solidly with thick arms and a barrel chest. His t-shirt read, "Happiness is a warm gut pile." He outweighed Joe by at least 40 pounds, but he didn't seem menacing, only very upset with the fact that he had been caught. He held a dripping knife in his hand. His rifle was propped up in a tall sagebrush about 50 feet away from him. He appeared not to have a sidearm. His pickup, a battered 3/4-ton GMC, nosed out of the timber on the opposite slope. He squinted up at Joe's pickup, and his face fell open. "Oh, fuck me," the man said, loud enough for Joe to hear over the whine of the engine. Joe drove quickly down the hill and positioned his Ford between the man and the rifle so the poacher couldn't lunge for it. Joe got out, told Maxine to stay, and approached the man and the downed deer. "Please drop the knife," Joe asked, sizing up the deer and the poacher. The poacher tossed the knife aside into the grass. Joe saw no reason to draw his revolver. Joe rarely found a reason to draw his weapon, and even if he did, he doubted he could hit anything with it. Joe was a notoriously bad pistol shot at any range, the worst in his class. "You're about 4 months early for deer season, you know," Joe said. He now recognized the man, a local outfitter named Oat Keeley. Joe had seen his photo and a reference request for an outfitter's license on his desk his first day on the job. Oat sighed. "Meat for the pot, warden. Just meat for the pot. Someone's got a family to feed." Oat had a deep southern accent. Joe couldn't identify the state. Joe squatted over the nearest and largest buck deer and ran his fingers over the soft velvet that still covered the antlers. "Seems to me you didn't have to kill the only trophies in the herd just to fill your freezer." He looked up at Oat Keeley, his eyes hard. A meat hunter would have probably been happy with a big dry doe or 2. Joe knew there was a black market for antlers and velvet, and that racks this size would command thousands of dollars in Asia,